Hello everyone, this is Rick Vaughn, your instructor for PSY520. I'm going to do a brief walkthrough and hopefully work on a little bit of the Descriptive Statistics project and introduce you to using SPSS if you haven't used it before. So welcome to class. I'm excited to meet you all on Wednesday when we meet for the first time, but as you can see we have things due even before we get together the first time, so hopefully we'll walk through this. Over here is typical, you all have been at Grand Canyon for a while, so you kind of know how to navigate LoudCloud. The one thing that I found is that under course materials, there really isn't a syllabus posted up over here. I think they've kind of chunked this apart into each of the different topics so you can see in each section what's required and then what are the resources that are available to you in this portion. But if you want a more traditional kind of syllabus, I'll either ask to see if it's available or I can create one for you if you're interested. So, what I usually do is just navigate based upon the dashboard, see what's due when, and just kind of follow the calendar along over here. You can click on any one of these to access any of the assignments. There's always a start date to it and then a due date to it. So this week you had DQ1, which was due on Saturday, DQ2, which is due today, and then on Wednesday you'll have your Descriptive Statistics project and your topic on exercises. These are going to be from the book, and these are going to be pretty self-contained. So we're going to spend some time looking at this Descriptive Statistics. I wanted to also point out under Path, and if you go to course materials, there's some great resources that are available to you over here. The Statistics Visual Learner is a nice resource. It'll take you into this thing that has videos and also just definitions of terms. So there's each of these different kind of calculations. If you ever need a quick overview about what is a one sample t-test, for example, you can look it up. And here's a video example. And then they go through, there's a PDF transcript of it. It'll show you how to calculate a one sample t-test. This is not always done in SPSS. It might be done in Excel, or it might be just kind of talked about in a more general kind of formulaic sense. But it is a nice visual way of reviewing some of the key terms. So there's also a SPS tutorial. If you haven't used SPSS, I'd also suggest that you look at mathandstatistics.com. They'll try to sell you tutoring, but they have a lot of videos that are specific to SPSS for statistics at that particular site. I'll post this and tell you about it in class on Wednesday as well. This is the link to actual SPSS, and it gives you the directions for downloading what's called the Citrix server. And I'm going to try to do it just right now, see how it works. You got to go to this My Apps. So I'm going to copy this link address, myapps.gcu.edu, and I'm going to go to a new window. I think I already have one here available, but I can just go to a new window. I'll paste that web address in up here, and you'll log on. You're going to have to authenticate. You'll have to put your regular Grand Canyon username and password in. And then if you haven't done it before, you're going to have to download this Citrix receiver. So I'm going to look to see if it's already installed. And then I'll open the Citrix receiver if I do have it installed. I think I do. Now, if you don't, then it'll give you a prompt to actually download the Citrix receiver, and then you'll be able to access this page where your apps are on here. So then you're going to want to switch over to the apps, and you'll find your SPSS, and you can click on it and then open it in that Citrix receiver. Now, this is, you're actually logging on to a virtual website. So when we're in class, for example, if everybody all tries to log on to SPSS at the same time, it kind of bogs down because we're all accessing the same computer at the same time. So it's kind of best if you try to do this outside of class time, or it'll just be slow. And it's a little slow anyway. SPSS is a very powerful tool. It's made by IBM. It's in now version 25. And it allows you to do all kinds of statistical analysis. But there's a little bit of a learning curve. I honestly like the fact that they're using SPSS for this course, because if nothing else, this is something that you can put onto your resume, that you have some experience with SPSS, and that will make a big difference in getting some job offers sometimes versus not. All right, so here we are in SPSS, and what you have is this ability to start a new data set, or you can just kind of load another one that you already have saved on here. I'm going to go with a new data set, and I can close this kind of open window. So here in SPSS, there's a couple of different windows. The main window here has the data view and the variable view. All right, so in one of these, you're actually going to see the scores, and another one, you're going to see information about the variables themselves. And then once you use these menus up here to actually do something, then you'll get another window that pops up, which is the output window. It has the results of the analysis that you did. So we're going to take just minimize this for just a minute, and we're going to take a look at your descriptive statistics project for this week. So here is your topic 1 descriptive statistics project, and I have these scores, and these are students' anxiety, and there's 30 different scores. One of the things I'm going to try to do, I don't know if this is going to work, is just copy and just paste it over into the data scores. Yeah, see, it didn't really work, and so, but one of the things I could try to do is cut these out and then paste them in down here, and that way I can, don't have to type all of these things, but I can, do a little bit of, it's going to be not the smoothest thing in the world, but it works. All right, so now I'm going to get rid of these other variables that I don't really need. Just get rid of them. And then under the variable view, I can change the name, and we're going to call this anxiety. A couple of things about SPSS, you can't use any spaces in your variable names. It is a numeric type variable as opposed to, strings or something along those lines. The width is going to be the how many digits are going to be displayed. In this case, we can just go with the width of 2. All of these things have only 2 digits, and we don't need any decimal places. So that kind of changed these fields over here. Labels we'll talk about in another. This is when you have categories of things and you want to assign like 0 equals female and 1 equals male, something along those lines. And then the values, this will be assigning labels to those. We're not missing any of the scores, and we're going to align things to the left. Over here, I'm going to set this as a scale variable. It's actually measuring something. This is the interval and the ratio combined is the scale variables. And then when I go back to the data view, you can see that I've kind of updated all of those things to anxiety. So I'm going to actually skip ahead and look at just this number 3. Use SPSS to calculate the numerical descriptive statistics, mean, median, standard deviation, and variance. So we're going to do that part first, and then we'll come back and look at this frequency table and histogram. So we can do the descriptive statistics of this variable score by going up here to, you can look at data, transform, but a lot of what we're going to do is under the Analyze tab. So I'll go Analyze and then Descriptive Statistics and say Descriptives. And I'm going to do the descriptive statistics for the variable called anxiety. So I move that over here. Sometimes you can set the options. Okay, what is it that I want to compute? I want to show the mean, the standard deviation, the min, the max, the variance is something that I need. And let's see, I don't really need the range, but I can show it anyway. The standard error of the mean, don't need that for now. And we're not going to look at kurtosis or skewness net. So I'll just say continue. And then when I'm done, I press OK. So now here's one of those output windows that shows up. And here I have my anxiety variable. There's 30 scores. The range, which is the difference between the maximum and the minimum, is 59. Here's the minimum value, the maximum value. Here's the mean, the standard deviation, and the variance. Now, what it didn't do is give me the median, and so I need to go back and figure out how I can figure out the median from all of this. So again, I would go up here and look under those descriptive statistics and see if there was maybe some other options that you had that could actually display the median. I'm going to let you work on figuring that out. Another thing you could do is actually sort these data scores and then find the median, the old-fashioned way, if you will, by finding the middle score. So play around with that. You have a little bit of work. I'm not doing all of your homework for you, but I'm just giving you an introduction to using some of these tools. Now, the next thing that you're going to do is a frequency table with class, frequency, relative percent, and cumulative percent with 6 classes. Now, if you go up here, there is actually, under descriptive statistics, you can actually look at the frequencies. And this will actually give you a report about how many of these scores are in each one of these different categories. What I would suggest that you do with this part 1 and part 2 is to just exit out of this and go to your handy Google engine, because there's a whole bunch of SPSS tutorials that are available. So if we just go on here and say, okay, and some of them, these videos I've made and some of them other people have made. How do I create a frequency table in SPSS? All right, and they're going to just tell you about how to actually, step 1, step 2 in this statistics how-to. And then there'll be videos about how to make a frequency table in SPSS and so forth. So once you kind of get your frequency table in place, and then we'll go back into SPSS if I can find it here. So once you have your frequency table, which I don't, but once you have your frequency table, then you're going to go up to graphs, and in the chart builder, you'll be able to use this, set of tools, and you can find the histogram and then drag this histogram up over into this gallery area. And then you're going to have to set your horizontal and your vertical axes with the properties that are over here. This, again, is not working because I don't have a frequency table over here. But once you get all your parameters kind of set by playing with the properties over here and with the labels and putting the dragging the variables onto each of the different kinds of labels, then you press OK, and then up will pop your histogram in that output window again. All right, so I know that this is not a full tutorial on how to do your project for this week. I'm just trying to give you a brief introduction to the course and to using SPSS. And if nothing else, we'll probably go over more of this in class on Wednesday night. And I look forward to meeting you on that day. I hope this has been helpful. Please let me know in the chat. Send me a private forum message. Send me a questions to instruction message, because I can do more of these kinds of videos even earlier in the week as we go forward and as we're going through the week to help you learn the statistics. We can do one focused on the homework, for example. If there's some homework questions that you're having some difficulty with, even before we get to class on Wednesday, we could do this sort of a remote instruction, if you will, for a citizen. So again, I'm looking forward to meeting you on Wednesday. Hope this has been helpful, and I hope you all have a great day.